Today on the podcast, we have a very special guest with us as we meet another candidate running on Tuesday. Theresa CASS Galvin is running for Jackson County Executive, and she joins us on a special edition of Dale Carter's America.
From the heart of flyover country, he's not on the far right, and he's certainly not on the far left. Like you, he's somewhere in the middle. This is Dale Carter's America.
Well, Theresa, welcome to Dale Carter's America. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We have a lot of ways that they can get the podcast. There's audio only. We're also in the YouTube world here today, which is why we have all these cameras set up. And I'm wearing a Royals hoodie. And I don't want you to take that the wrong way because I am a Frank White fan of his days as a baseball player.
Right.
And I think he ought to be in the Hall of Fame. I really do. But as a resident of Jackson County, not just a Politico and host of this podcast, but as a resident of Jackson County, I think he's been an abject failure as Jackson County executive.
I get that a lot as I'm out campaigning and speaking to people. I loved him as a baseball player, great second baseman, horrible county executive, or he's not a Golden Glove county executive.
Yeah.
So which is unfortunate.
And I think in that role, and you and I were talking before we rolled the cameras on all this, that it's not so much about partisan politics. It's not about left and right, the red jersey and the blue jersey, all that. County government, and really city government too, and when you look at like the city races in Missouri, I'm not sure the county races are this way. Are they nonpartisan as well?
No, we actually have to declare partisanship.
Okay. And the city races, they're nonpartisan,
Correct.
as you know, because it's about competence. It's not about left and right, red and blue. It's about whether you can be competent and run a local government or not, and I just don't think he's getting it done.
Unfortunately, you're correct.
Kansas City Star probably agrees as well because they have endorsed you, and as we've talked about on the podcast, those guys would crawl over cut glass to endorse a Democrat, yet they've endorsed you.
Right, and I spoke with them afterwards, and they said their reasoning is they just didn't feel like he deserved another 4 years.
Yeah. One of the big red flags early on was when he brought Troy Schulte over from the city. And again, as an outsider, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, but just as an outsider viewing this, it looked like he wasn't going to do the job, so he brought a guy over to do the job when you're paying him a lot of money.
We are paying Troy a lot of money, but we are getting our money's worth from him.
So you think he's doing a good job?
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him during the CARES Act funding, we would have been in big trouble.
So if you become county executive, that position will stay?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you're running against Frank. When you run against somebody, it's because you think you can do a better job. What are you bringing to the table, and what do you want to get done with the county?
Well, for me, I care about the people. Of course, in 2019, I was the chairman of the legislature when we had all of the assessments issues. For me, that was just a blatant disservice to the people of Jackson County. They were hurt. A lot of them lost their homes. Well, some lost their homes. Some had to choose whether pay their taxes or buy food, whether pay their taxes or buy medicine. So those issues need to be taken care of. So there we have the issue of how we're assessing our taxes, but then we're looking at also how those tax dollars are being spent. And I think they're being spent recklessly. I don't agree with the way the money's being spent, and I will be a watchdog for that.
A couple of different issues going on there. First, the assessment issue. And again, a lot of us who live in Jackson County have seen our taxes go up on our properties quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Is there an end to that, or are we going to just see that continue to go up?
When things change on Tuesday, we'll see an end to that.
Because I've even seen people who have used cars now and they pay the personal property tax. And usually when you buy a car, that tax goes down over years. And I've seen some people, and I haven't paid mine yet, I've seen some people post that it's gone up or it stayed the same on a used car.
So on mine personally, I looked at mine when it came across a couple of weeks ago. My newest car is a 2015. My property taxes went up over $200 this year and over $70 last year. So that's almost $300 within 2 years for used cars that should be declining. They say it's because they can't get that chip for the new cars, so our used cars are worth more, and they use,
Right.
The black book value, or blue book value, but it's That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I have a 2015 as well. That's my car. So you're telling me it's going to go up when I get mine in the mail?
Mine did. Take a look at it. They're
Should
online.
I have gotten that by now? I haven't gotten that yet.
I've got an email online. Yes.
Okay.
So
well,
so check online. I'll check for you
I'll
if you want me
watch
to.
that. Certainly a lot of issues going on with the county. And Frank did make some news this week talking about spending $1 million out of the American Rescue Plan Act money to fund people traveling out of state because Missouri has more restrictive abortion laws now after Roe versus Wade was shot down by the Supreme Court, to pay for women to travel out of state for abortion procedures. Where are you on that?
So where I am is, first of all, after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, abortion issues went to the state. Again, they're still not at the county. There's still not an issue or topic that the county needs to be dealing with. We need to be working on our own issues. However, ARPA funds cannot be used for that. He's also getting ready to make an announcement that he's going to help the Northeast to repair a fountain and a community center pool using ARPA funds. ARPA funds cannot be used for that either. He said yesterday that he's going to wait until next year's legislature to pass the abortion issue because he knows that he won't have the support of the legislature this year. So if he were to pass those and pay those out of ARPA funds, we are going to get audited by the government, and we'll have to pay that back out of tax dollars. So it won't be ARPA funds.
So what are your priorities for that money?
To see if there's any way that we can pay for portions of the jail.
The jail's another issue I want to talk about.
The jail is a huge issue. To see if there's some way that we can do some funding there. Also, we have a courthouse that needs over $250 million worth of repairs. I mean, it's crumbling in front of us.
Yeah.
So we need to see if there's some way that we can fix that. And then other programs that we can do for the community.
Yeah. The abortion issue aside, whether you're for it or against it or whether you want restrictions or not, when I saw this story, the first thing that hit me was Kansas is right next door with very liberal abortion laws right now.
Right.
So how much does it really cost to go across State Line Road to get an abortion?
Right. Somebody can drive 20 or 30 minutes and do what they feel like they need to do. What's best
I hope
for
you
them.
guys bring that up because I guess this is going to be on the agenda on Monday.
I haven't seen the agenda, but like I said, he said yesterday that he was going to wait until next year. So I don't know what's going to be on the agenda yet. We don't get that until Thursday.
All right. Well, as we're looking into 2023, what are some things that we ought to be expecting looking forward?
Well, with me as the county executive, you can expect that your assessment values will be equitable. They will not be going through the roof. We will look at moving forward on the jail and moving forward with the city's, regional facility that will help, the cities. And that's huge. That's something that we need to do for our community to keep our community safe. That will also help us with funding. We've got cities in eastern Jackson County that also just want 10 beds. He said, Theresa, I just need 10 beds, to help with my mental health. This is something that we should be doing as a community as a whole. So we'll have more talks, more meetings on that to try to move forward together as Jackson County as a whole.
The jail's initial cost was $256.5 million.
Correct.
And, I was on city council in Blue Springs and we built a new police building and, what was approved was what I held their feet to the fire to build. I'm told now that the number from J.E. Dunn is coming in at $312 million.
It's over $300 million. We don't have an exact number yet. We had a meeting last week or the week before, and we asked them to go back to the drawing board, see what changes they could make to bring us back down under 300. So they have been working on that. We have a meeting today, and I will see what they came up with.
Well, you're going to have a tough job on your hands if you win this because, what I'm seeing on the budget is there's about a $6 million shortfall each year of what's coming in versus what you're spending. So reserve money is being spent. You got a jail that, as these buildings do, is ballooning out of control. So it's going to be a tough job. It's going to take a competent manager to get it done. It
is going to be a tough job.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tough. I don't have confidence in who we have in that position right now.
I don't either as a voter. Again, second baseman, Gold Glove, ought to be in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Great guy, too, just to sit and talk to. But in terms of a competent manager to run something as big as Jackson County, I just don't think he's getting it done.
I would agree.
Yeah. So there has been some talk that maybe the city might join the county in the jail project. Have you heard about that, and where might that go?
So that is something I've been an advocate from the very beginning. And yes, I am completely open to those conversations. For some reason, I don't know why they're not getting together and speaking. There was an email that was brought out that was sent to the county executive and to the sheriff in June It did not receive a response. It was sent from Brian Pratt, the city manager, and he did not receive a response. And in the email, he was saying, what kind of proposal do we need? What can we come up with? He was reaching out, trying to have a meeting to figure out what we could do to work together.
Well, one of the issues we talk about a lot on the podcast is crime. And crime is spinning out of control. And I know Jackson County takes up a big piece of real estate, but the crime seems to be centered, the really dangerous crime seems to be centered in Kansas City. And, we've got to get a better jail facility, I guess, because and this is another issue because you really don't have control over this because Gene Peters Baker is separately elected, right?
Yes.
And it's like they're turning these criminals out and the cops are arresting the same people over and over again. How do we fix that?
So I see a couple of things here. One of the problems is the overcrowding. We have 753 beds in our current jail, and the occupancy can be up to 900. So for me, in the new jail, what I want to see is I want to see some programmings. I want to see mental health issues, taken care of, some training. I want to see people learn how to do just the daily things. I used to say balance your checkbook, but who balances a checkbook anymore? But
I still do.
You do, good. Teach them how to drive a forklift. Give them a skill. Give them some education. Give them so that when they do walk out that door, they can be a part of society, and that'll help with the recidivism rate. Also, about 6 weeks ago, the legislature unanimously passed an ordinance giving increases to our sheriff's department. So at any given time, the most sheriff's departments that we have out on the streets is 4 throughout the entire Jackson County.
Wow.
So we passed this ordinance to give the deputies an increase. The county executive didn't sign off on it. He let it pass without his signature, and now the sheriff hasn't implemented it. So we need to give these people what they deserve. We need to take care of them so they can take care of us.
All right. Well, Election Day is coming up on Tuesday. Theresa CASS Galvin running for County Executive of Jackson County. And for whatever it's worth, you get the endorsement of the Star. You get the endorsement of Dale Carter's America, too.
Yay.
All right. Best of luck to you, and thank you so much for sharing your views.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.